Thank you very much, Dave. So, Infinity, between us, who's the dark sheep and who's the black horse? Or is it the, actually not? Who is the? He's got to be confused. Who is the black sheep and who's the dark horse?
Huh. To be honest, I don't even know at this point because we went in 3 games for these 2 series a while ago. So at this point in time, I don't even know what to expect anymore.
Okay, just for people who don't, I mean, there might be non-English speakers or people who have in the chat, right? So let's just explain. So black sheep is like the the kind of that. No. Black sheep is kind of unrelated to this. Black sheep is like the black sheep of the family, right? Like the
Yeah.
you know when there's a family and like a movie and like one of them is evil, like, or like one of them just like underperforming and is doesn't do it well at all. That's a black sheep, kind of like a sore spot. Dark horse is like so in a tournament usually like favorites and there's contenders, and then one step below that is dark horse. It's like they might have an outside chance of winning, but if you're betting on it, you might put some money on them because if they win, you get a lot of money back, that kind of thing. But black sheep, dark horse, I guess you could be both at the same time, right? It's like,
Yeah.
so this is certainly possible. Anyway, for those of you just joining us, we had a couple of banger 3-game series thus far, both going to 3 games. Sengoku Gaming taking out Bigatron Infinity earlier and having an unusually rough time of it. Sengoku was dominant in the group stage, had a pretty tough time against Bigatron earlier. They actually barely won the first game. They had to come back and win. They got kind of punked the second game, and then they're able to squeak it out in the third game there. CHAKAIMOOK actually took on the favorites in DR Esports. They got destroyed first game, and then they were able to basically steadily outplay DR Esports the next couple games. So a big upset on we already had a big upset, I should say, and we could have another upset on our hands here because Infinity Sengoku isn't playing that great, especially compared to what we've seen from them before. And CHAKAIMOOK is really stepping up their game. So, we might actually have a dark horse here in CHAKAIMOOK because CHAKAIMOOK, if they pull off yet another upset, they're in at the winners finals.
Yeah. And it's important to set up the stage, right? The winner for this game is gonna fight off against Omega Esports in the semi-finals, which is gonna be very interesting. It's gonna be hyped up, and I don't know what to expect.
I like to call it. You call it the semi-finals. I like to call it the winners finals, right? Because it would be the only 2 left at the end of the day. And whoever wins that would be waiting for the winner of the losers finals. The funny thing is that Omega Esports finished second in their group, and then if CHAKAIMOOK makes it to the finals, it'll be our second team that makes it to the finals coming second in their group. So that would be pretty crazy as well. Anyway, let's talk about the draft. Lulu and Camille, not too surprising bands there. Camille has been rising lately in popularity. But starting off here for CHAKAIMOOK, they go with we started off the draft with Sengoku side, and they went for the Lee Sin so that Rush can play that. Rush is very comfortable with the Lee Sin. Follow that up on CHAKAIMOOK side with the Gragas Alistair, and then we went with the Misfortune and Oriana for Sengoku Gaming. And I think they're going to be leaning towards the Braum here to pair up with and there it is. There's the Braum to pair up with that Misfortune. Makes perfect sense. And yeah, looks like we're shaping up our draft pretty nicely. The only thing I see here that's a bit off, I would say, is CHAKAIMOOK. They have Kaisa, but they don't have Lulu, so it's a bit of an oops or an ouchie.
Yeah, in contrast to that one, we have like a lot of initiations coming with Sengoku Gaming, right? You have the single targeted CC potentials coming from Lee Sin alone, and you have all those setups that could occur coming in from that Oriana, from the Braum, and the Ma fight as well, which is gonna be big in synergy with the bullet time. So I think later on, I'm just predicting already. Right now, CHAKAIMOOK would really have to wait for that bullet time to really just go for Sengoku Gaming before trying to initiate the fight and try to dominate Sengoku Gaming.
Right. I thought you were getting confused for a second. You certainly weren't. Looks like we're finished up with the Garen. Tale as old as time. Garen going up against that Malphite as we're getting into game number 1 of this best of 3 series in the semifinals. I'm gonna call it the winner semifinals. We're not calling it round 2. That's weak sauce. These teams have played a lot of Wild Rift to get here, so they deserve to say they're in the semifinals at the moment. I'm looking at this draft. I gotta go with Sengoku winning this draft right now. It's like, it just looks so much more cohesive. They have the traditional setup, right? With the Lee Sin able to engage, they have you have a big beefy front line of Malphite and the Brawl, lots of damage coming from the back and the Misfortune and the Orianna. Whereas on CHAKAIMOOK, it's a lot of solid champions, but it's like they have some good initiation. They don't have a ton of damage. It's kind of just like Kaisa and eventually maybe the Gragas, but that kind of takes a while to warm up. I feel like the early and mid game are both going to go to Sengoku, and they don't really lose the late game either. So I really just like this for Sengoku, just based on the draft.
Yeah, and I have to agree on you on that statement that you have told us that Sengoku Gaming is going to be the more dominant draft coming in for this game number 1. And I think CHAKAIMOOK would really have a hard time to try and contest Sengoku Gaming on this specific draft that they have. Because, right, you have the Kaisa with no Lulu to follow through and enhance the abilities of that ADC. You have the Gragas Alistar, sure thing, but what is gonna be the follow-up? The Kaisa wouldn't be as strong as you would think without the Lulu and without the potentials to set it all up. So I think it's really lacking in terms of damage for the side of CHAKAIMOOK, and Sengoku Gaming is really just perfect when it comes to team fights.
Yeah, and obviously the first thing you think about when you say, well, they don't have enough damage, and the fact that they have 5 competent champions means that, well, they must be good at something else, right? Well, they have a ton of CC, but it almost seems to me like they have too much CC. I know you can never really have too much CC, but it's like when you're lacking damage, I think that can certainly be the case, especially because they have different kinds of CC, right? This is not the wombo combo where everyone just gets blown up in one big ball, right? They have some of the CC is AoE, and some of the CC is single target, and some of the CC pushes people away. It just feels like the CC doesn't really match up. Right, we're not going to see much wombo combo. So yeah, I just feel like unless Sengoku messes this up, or unless CHAKAIMOOK plays a heck of a game, I feel like Sengoku's won this draft.
I'm currently thinking about how they could actually win. What is going to be the ideal situation for them? Because I can't really think of any. I mean, for the skirmishes, sure, you have the Vi to go for that single targeted DC against the enemy team, and you also have the Garen to go for the silence and to go for the ultimate to finish it all off, and to probably go for the Kaisa with the synergy as well. But overall, I really don't see an opportunity for a team fight win for the side of CHAKAIMOOK.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair to them, I feel like with a 1k or 2k gold lead, they can really just force the issue and just kind of jump Sengoku, and they have so much DC that Sengoku really can't really do a whole lot. I can imagine in my head Sengoku kind of being on the retreat. They're taking a bunch of damage. CHAKAIMOOK is chasing him down, but that kind of it involves CHAKAIMOOK having to get ahead in the first place, and that's the problem, right? How are they going to get ahead in the first place to force that sort of situation? And I don't know. It just feels like Sengoku needs to make a mistake. In my mind, I feel like Sengoku needs to make a mistake, or else CHAKAIMOOK is going to be on the back foot here.
Although, what I want to say is for game number 2, how it's going to turn out, right? You have no more huge champions, Orianna, Lee Sin, Malphite, Brawl, and Misfortune, because you've used it already in game number 1. And I know I'm being too advanced here, since we're still at game number 1, but it's just the reality of the fact that you really don't have any more tournament power picks.
Wait, what was that? Did you see that? So Rush on that Lee Sin skin, he was just literally gliding across the ground. What the heck?
I think that's a visual mode from the spectator mode. I think.
Spectator mode bug. Okay. That was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. He was literally like surfing to the middle of the map. All right, well, I mean, honestly, that'd be cool if it wasn't a bug. Actually, it's just part of the skin. He just surfs to the middle, like whatever. Any case, let's analyze this early game laning phase. Malphite versus the Garen is not going to be too much of a big deal. I feel like Orianna has a slight advantage against the Gragas. Over in this bottom lane, I feel like it goes to the Misfortune. So again, it's just a slight advantage here, I would say, for Sengoku.
For the mid lane, I think CKM would have the disadvantage at this point, because you have the Orianna with the spammy skills and also the range advantage against a Gragas in the mid lane. in terms of individual type of laning stages in the top lane as well, I think we've missed that out. Garen versus a Malphite. Now the question would be, what is the build of the Malphite? Is it going to be a damage Malphite with magic damage, or is it going to be a defensive tanky type of Malphite for this one? And it is something that is very important to state, because if you go for that magic damage, you would alleviate the lack of damage coming in for CKM, right? And then if you go for the tanky, you're basically just going in for that setups against the enemy team. And I think in early game, I think the Garen has the advantage because of the silence, so that there is no skills coming through from Malphite. But nevertheless, let's see here in the top lane.
Yeah, I do feel like Malphite's best course of action just to go for as much tankiness as possible. I feel like there's enough damage between the Misfortune and the Orianna, but looks like we're having a little of a mirrored situation. Both teams going for the opposite sides jungle camp, and wow, that's okay. Alistar taking quite a bit of damage, which means that I don't think if Vi can stick around. Although she does take the entire camp before she decides to go ahead and back off. This is actually another situation where Garen has a slight advantage over Malphite in that early game, because Malphite does have to go back for mana. That said, he did get a lot of gold to his name, so going to be going back not just for mana, but going to be able to actually compete later on. Look at the ward placement, by the way. So many wards in the jungle of Sengoku, placed by CKM.
Yeah, it's just vision is very important, and utilizing this very correctly would give you the edge coming into the later fights. And I think if you've seen a while ago from the item, I think the Vi already has the Sheen for herself, or for himself rather. So I think that is gonna be strong for the early game. But right now I think it's really just dead even. They're trying to go for a safe place, because it is literally a do or die to come through for the finals, for the winner finals, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Both teams want to get to that winners finals. It's hey Dave, don't don't correct us. It's the finals of the winners bracket, okay? We're calling it the finals of the winners bracket. Losers can go to losers bracket and fight it out there. It's way harder to get to the grand finals after you go to the losers bracket. We call it the winners finals and the grand finals. Darn it. Okay, don't give don't try to undermine us. Anyway, so looks like after all of this, there's about a 300k, not 300k, 300k gold would be quite a bit of a gold lead. 300 period gold lead for 0.3k gold. Lead here for the side of Sengoku. Not a huge deal, but could be something that makes a slight difference as we're getting ready. 10 seconds on that dragon. Your Scuttler going to be taken here by CKM. That's quite a big deal. Obviously, having that vision, which you can't get rid of, as the Infernal Drake spawns.
And this is going to be very important. And Garen in the top lane gives you information to the side of Team Sengoku Gaming that they are at an advantage when they try to go for this objective. Now the question would be, are they going to go for this dragon, right? Because the Garen is on the top lane too far to go for a response.
Yeah, I think I like this from both teams. So obviously Sengoku had decided beforehand to bring over the Malphite to make sure that they got the dragon. They know that the vision's there, but since they have vision of the Garen as well, it makes sense for CKM not to contest that whatsoever. Garen's going to trade out and get this turret in a response, and somewhat of an even trade, I would say. The Infernal Dragon's a really big deal, especially because of the Orianna and providing that extra damage to Orianna and Misfortune in particular. But giving away a turret, obviously that's huge as well. So, what do you think? What would you prefer here? Would you rather have the Infernal Dragon here or the turret?
Infernal Dragon for me, specifically because you have the Misfortune in Orianna, right? And when you have that Infernal Drake, you're producing a lot more damage, and that bullet time is gonna scale out much bigger for their team. And I think CKM did a great job, responding, getting a turret, because if you're looking at their draft, they're lacking damage nevertheless. So I think Kaisa would be the only one, trying to really go for that massive amounts of damage, which would really be contrasting for the side of Team Sengoku Gaming, which has two people really benefiting from that Infernal Drake.
Yeah, that's actually kind of funny, like the asymmetry of it, right? Because if Sengoku got the turret and CKM got the Drake, it would actually be in favor of Sengoku, and the opposite is actually true as well. But oh my goodness, goodbye Rush on the Lisa there, gets taken out. That was very well played here by our Gragas, just jumping him and making sure he couldn't do anything in that situation. And this is what we're talking about in the draft, like, right? If CKM can make these types of plays happen and gain a lead that way, then suddenly they can start pushing in and kind of forcing the issue. They actually are up 2.5k gold right here and trying to engage on a team fight as well. The Whip Arrow does go to the way of CKM. Can they make this happen? Though big bullet time coming out here from Slashman. Can they make it happen? Though looks like the Brom's going to get taken out first, which means it's going to be hard to engage going forward. Rush trying to be aggressive as much as possible on this Lee Sin, pushing into the other side, using the flash to go forward, but the Kai'Sa's going to be coming to the rescue here of the Gragas. And that's just going to be a 2-0 for the time being. Sengoku really want to force the issue onto this mid tower, though. It's quite a bit of damage, but it's going to back off in the end. So CKM, we thought they lost the draft, and we thought they're underdog here, and they're making it happen.
I don't even know what's happening because I guess getting that turret gives you the gold. Like they got in like 2k gold lead from that, and from that 2k you have the item advantage, right? Especially on that Garen, I think, was the one who split push into the top lane. So yeah, basically it's just the gold advantage just to won that fight. And considering it's a member disadvantage coming from Sengoku Gaming without Lee Sin to go for that single targeted CC against the enemy team would give you the disadvantage against CKM on that specific engagement onto the river side.
Yeah, you just saw a bit of attempted push in here from Sengoku trying to go under that bottom turret. Got it pretty low, but we're a bit scared off there in the end. We're able to get away and force out the ult from Gragas, but we have yet another engagement. In goes Vi, gets the kill, and Malphite is in trouble as well, but pops the ult, and multiple members in trouble. Here comes the ult from Brawl as well. There is the Riptail spot in the middle of the turret, and that means that the Alistar is going to fall. That is 2 kills in response here from Sengoku. They're going to be trying to go for even more. Slashmoon and Deadduo, the combo here. They keep trying to get a kill, but Haka's just backing off, making sure to get the Riptail in the... While all that was happening, Garen was pushing that top lane, so gold lead still intact here for the side of CKM.
Yeah, and 1/3 plate was falling down into that objective by the Garen, so I think a lot of gold right now is probably onto that Garen at the moment. Let's actually check in to the items currently from both of these drafts. But currently, hold that thought because we're gonna have a fight.
I was gonna say, don't look at the items quite yet because we might have something going. They're all 5 members of CKM are on this side right now. Big ult from the Orianna, but that said, the Lee Sin is the only one to go down, unable to follow up with that because of the big gulf between them. The geography working against Sengoku here, but oh my goodness, Hawk, what was that?
So, like, I really like the shockwave, but
that was so anticlimactic. That was so anticlimactic. That was the biggest Orianna's ult I've ever seen, but no one can follow up because they were behind the cliff there.
Like, it's a 5-man shockwave, right? But the problem with that is there's no one to follow up, and Gragas ult just saved the entire CKM team on that draft, on that fight, rather.
It was almost too good. It actually, the ult was too good because Rush wasn't expecting. Rush was waiting for more damage to be on the Drake so he could snipe it, but because no one was attacking the Drake, he's like, wait a second, I have to go in now. Crap! It was actually the ult was too good. It's like I'm not even exaggerating. Like if the ult was a little bit worse, if Hawk only got 3 or 4 members and more members were attacking the dragon, then maybe Rush would have been able to time it better. The ult was actually too good.
Yeah, I think just the problem would be like the ult is super good, but the positioning is bad, right? The positioning is bad. They were too far away from the enemy team to really try and go for a dive against the enemy team into the Dragon's Pit.
Speaking of dive, the Misfortune is already down, and the re-engage comes out here from Sengoku, actually using the ult just to make sure to pick up that kill. I guess it's kind of worth it because you don't want to take any chances. There could be people hiding in the bushes. You don't want Alistar to run back to his team. Meanwhile, JK is not kidding at all. He has been just completely split pushing the entire time, not really rotating at all. Rush is quite a bit of trouble. Ult comes out here from Gragas trying to help him out. Flash is forced over the wall here just to get him out of there and into safety. But that means that Rush is going to have to go home. 6k gold lead coming out for CKM as Sun. All right, looks like we have reconnected to the stream here, and as I was mentioning, 6k gold lead persists for CHAKAIMOOK. continuing to hold on to that lead, and Sengoku having a rough time of it. And we thought they had a better draft, but all it took was a couple of nice kills early in the game, or a nice decision making from the CHAKAIMOOK getting the turret, getting that kill early on, and that's allowed them to snowball this game. And the fact that they have so much CC on the front line, I thought it was too much CC. It turns out it's just enough because they're really throwing their weight around and making it difficult for Sengoku here.
It's currently I don't even know what's happening. It's really just, you know, counter prediction to what we were expecting from the draft. It's something that we weren't really expecting to happen for the side of Sengoku Gaming. But nevertheless, it still has the chance to make a comeback play, right? You have the 3 turrets taken down by CKM. If you do that at the same way, at the same time, by the side of Sengoku Gaming, you may potentially go back from the gold deficient that you already are currently experiencing.
So Rush is actually extremely deep to trying to take a fight here. You can see that CHAKAIMOOK is extremely split up, so Sengoku trying to take advantage of the situation, but unable to do so. Rotating back over to this mid lane, that means that gives the opportunity for CKM to regroup as they continue to push in. It's just, they gave him the runaround. And now they're taking out more turrets. Sengoku unable to punish whatsoever, unable to take anyone out here, and barely holding on to even their blue buff in the meantime. This looks very similar to CKM's game, that the third game versus DR, where they forced them out. CHAKAIMOOK just throwing their weight around and pushing into turrets without any resistance from the opponents. Going to be turning their attention over to this dragon at the moment here. Alistair getting out of dodge. Hawk extremely forward position, going to be shielded by the Brawl. Who's going to be able to take this dragon? In goes the Lee Sin, but the Vi is able to take it in the end. But multiple numbers like CHAKAIMOOK extremely low. The ball time does come out. The GA gets popped here for our member. It's going to go ahead and try to get out. The Vi is not long for this world. Lee Sin able to take it down in the end, but over on the other side of the map, the back stabbing, the Garen is here to try to take this turret. Meanwhile, is you guys just gonna finish the game? There's delay attacks over in the mid side of the map. That means that Kai'Sa's gonna go down here almost certainly, and there she goes. Inhibitor turret does fall. Perhaps Worth will have to see, but this has been absolutely insane.
That was super unfortunate for Sengoku Gaming. I think what they should have done wasn't really to go for that kills any longer, because they really don't need it anymore. They have taken the dragon, or not dragon already, but they've contested the enemy team already. So I think contesting the inhibitor turret was so much better than getting killed.
Oh my goodness, Sengoku is actually in so much trouble here. They're not able to kind of get all the members in at the same time at once. Hawk using the stasis and flashes away. Are you kidding? It looked like an absolute disaster. It's still very bad for Sengoku as they trickled in and, you know, took the team fight very poorly, but I can't even believe that Hawk got out of there.
Yeah, heavy mistakes coming in from Sengoku Gaming, and they have to pay the price for this one, but D2 are gonna have another fight into the Baron's pit.
Yeah, Brawl being very brave going in there. Gragas has to actually turn tail and run because it's taking too much damage from the Baron. In comes Malphite. Can he make it happen? It does get smited down by the Vi, but maybe they can still make this happen in the end. Malphite has to go ahead and turn around, but that means that Hawk is in trouble. He falls, so too does the Malphite. Only 3 members left here for Sengoku, and there comes the back from CHAKAIMOOK, playing extremely safe. They have that quick back to the name, and now they're going to be pushing potentially for the final blow in this game.
Yeah, a lot of mistakes coming in from Sengoku Gaming. The ideal situation, they were contrasting it. They were repelling those situations against their favor, and I think that was a lot of mistakes. I think going for that back for that inhibitor turret was much more valuable than kills, because kills could happen later on, and for getting those kills, what can happen next? You can't go for the Baron because there is the Garen. You have 3 more members alive for the side of CKM a while ago. So they really have to pay the price for this action, this decision that they've made, which put them at this current place.
Yeah, it's just really hard treading here for the side of Sengoku Gaming. Obviously, all credit to CHAKAIMOOK. Honestly, I don't even think that Sengoku has played even that poorly in this game, especially compared to the first one. I think they really stepped up their game, but CHAKAIMOOK just really bringing in, trying to get their second upset of the day. Curse is in trouble. Malphite having to try to dash out of there, but cannot do so in time. And he got some nice bullet time to try to just force members back just a little bit. Garen still spitting to win though, and there's a lot of damage coming up from the Slash Moon. And looks like an ult came out, I believe, to push the Alistair in. He's going to be a little bit of trouble, but the caves, the walls are caving in, I should say, as all there's just pink minions everywhere. Infinity, I don't know if they can hold on anymore. Rush is the only one left standing, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is game number 1, excuse me, going over to CHAKAIMOOK.